And joining us now to go all out on the happenings at the U.S. Open is sports writer Josh Planos, and he joins us live all the way from Nebraska in the U.S. Good evening to you, Josh, and of course, good morning here from Manila. Thank you so much, for joining us today. A lot happening. I mean, it just started, but it seems like it's going to be an exciting U.S. Open. Let's focus on the ladies first, Josh. The U.S. Open, as I mentioned, just getting started, but it appears that there will be a new champion on the women's side. That's after defending champ Emma Raducanu crashed out of the first round, losing to Frances Alize Cornet. What happened, Josh? I mean, what was it? Something that you expected from Raducanu? I mean, she came in a dark horse last year's U.S. Open and just blew everybody away. And now I guess maybe the pressure is getting to her. Your thoughts on that?
Well, it was a very difficult draw for her, Christine, as Cornet has been the giant killer on tour this year. But Emma also had some injury difficulty she was working through, right? She called for a medical timeout during the first set to deal with blisters on her right hand. And as anyone who's ever dealt with blisters will tell you, the last thing in the world you want is to have to grip something tightly with that hand. So I think it was a combination of the moment getting to her to a degree, a quality opponent, and then some health issues that ultimately led to the loss.
Well, hopefully now, I mean, she was saying that, in a way, I mean, maybe she was a bit relieved and hoping that after this tournament, she's able to move on and really grow, as a player without that added pressure on her.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it comes quickly for superstars, right? I mean, for her, at least, that seemingly happened overnight. So, it's a blessing and a curse, right? If you're ready for it, fantastic. And if not, if you need to build yourself up, your skill set up, as is the case with her, I think it came a little bit too soon. But she seems to, be even keel about things. She seems to know that her career is a work in progress, and she's ready to get back to the drawing board.
Well, and speaking of superstars, Josh, another shocking exit was Naomi Osaka, who also lost her first round match against Danielle Collins in straight sets, 7-6, a close first set, 7-6, 6-3. Were you surprised that Osaka was unable to go beyond the first round here?
See, I really wasn't for this one, Christine. Osaka, to me, is fire and ice on the court. She can win a tournament or she can get bounced in the first round, and neither would surprise me. Increasingly, it seems to me that her margin for error is widening. She just isn't playing as sharp of tennis as she was in the early stages of her career, and I hope she finds that magic again, because as of right now, there's a reason why she isn't seeded and why she's going home so soon.
Yeah, so maybe a forecast for Naomi. Where do you think she is headed?
I think she's a top 15 player. I'm not sure we ever see her back in the top 15 or top 5, top 3, really. I think that she just kind of has the skill set and frankly, she has the interests in things outside of tennis that are really growing both the sport and, her own personal profile. So I think that she has a lot of interests. She might not be someone who needs to do tennis day in and day out. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that she can get back to being a top 15 player. And
you mentioned earlier about the giant killer, Alize Cornet. I mean, she's had her share, definitely, of impressive moments. I mean, she even ended Iga Swiatek's 37-match win streak at Wimbledon. I don't know if Iga has been the same since. As early as now, how do you see Alize Cornet? I mean, do you see her actually as a potential title contender at this year's U.S. Open?
I think contending for a title is a step outside of her reality at the moment, but she's undoubtedly proven that she has the skills to topple any opponent. If this were a different tournament, a different style of court, I might feel differently, but skill-wise, I think she's going to compete with anyone left in the draw without question. I just don't think ultimately she's going to win the tournament, but she's also proven just about everybody wrong, including some of the top players in the world this year. So, she could get the last laugh after all.
And how about Swiatek? I mean, what's your forecast on that? I mean, she's still currently the world's #1, and she's definitely, looking to add another Grand Slam to her title after winning, the French Open earlier this year. What do you think about her chances of winning the title here at Flushing Meadows?
I like her odds, Christine. I think Swiatek has lightning in her hands. There isn't anyone on the tour who can match her pace. And when she has that serve dialed in, she's unbeatable. with her ground stroke game. So I think without question, she's the favorite to capture the title. If I were to wager any sort of money, I would do it on her because she is a fantastic talent. And with it being a hard court tournament, I think that this is her tournament to lose.
And while the U.S. Open definitely, Josh, is all about Serena Williams. I mean, the tickets have been sold out for all of her matches. So many memories are actually at the U.S. Open for this amazing icon. I mean, she won the first of her 23 Grand Slam titles in New York in 1999. And Serena just defeated Annette Kontaveit in 3 sets. I mean, you did mention that Serena's legacy is bulletproof regardless of the results, you know. But now that we're guaranteed a new champion, can we expect Serena to be among those contending?
Without question. I mean, this is the swan song of her career, and I don't know anyone in the world who would bet against the greatest of all time when the lights are brightest. I do want to say that it's astonishing that we're even having this conversation, right? This is a 41-year-old mother who has played 6 matches all year. There should be no reality in which what she is doing is possible, but that is Serena Williams. Truly a singular superstar, and I think this is a fantastic representative of what sports can do, which is topple every reality and preconceived notion we could ever have. So what she's doing is remarkable. It is probably the last chapter of an incredible legacy, and I think only a fool would bet against Serena Williams right now.
I mean, she seems to be celebrating every win. I mean, she's surprised at every moment, actually. Let's take a quick look at her draw. Maybe you could give me her biggest opponent that she will need to face.
Well, yeah, so she actually has a couple of rounds off in terms of, seeded opposition. I think at some point she will run into the 9 seed. That'll be, probably difficult, and certainly as the matches accrue, really her ultimate opponent is going to be her level of fitness, right? I mean, it's not going to get any easier from here on out. The matches are going to compound. The damage on your body is going to compound. It's going to be a difficult up-road climb, but she's made that climb so many times that truly, I mean, you could put any opponent in front of her, and I'm not necessarily sure that would be the bigger opponent than her own, physicality right now, because she is a mother. She is, over the age of 40. That is truly the biggest challenge that she faces at the current moment. So I think that if she can handle, her rest and her training regimen, then she's going to have a chance to win this tournament. And certainly, what she just did was phenomenal. She just toppled the number 2 player in the entire draw. So, Swiatek, I'm sure she doesn't want to run into, but for right now, Serena Williams is not concerned about any opponent.
Okay, well, Serena's sister Venus, however, lost her opening round match, but they are still expected to compete together in the doubles event. Apparently, this is the first time since 2018 that the Williams sisters teaming up on the court. And we know that Serena's farewell tour, but Venus is, just as respected in her own right. So let's talk a little bit about the impact that both Serena and Venus has had in the sport.
I'm really glad you mentioned Venus, Christine, because there is no Serena without Venus, and there is no Venus without Serena. They are a package deal, and together they shook up the sport of tennis, but they did it together. Put aside what they did in terms of the color barrier, these are 2 of the greatest athletes in any sport ever. And this is almost certainly the greatest sibling pair of athletes the world has ever seen. And I think the sport should celebrate both in equal measure as long as they're around, because they put women's tennis on the map for millions of people around the world who otherwise probably wouldn't have turned on their television, who wouldn't have picked up a racket. And that's a real credit to the skill set of both of these, phenomenal women who, of course, that their doubles legacy is unblemished and unparalleled. But really, it's 2 superstars that grew up in the same household, and it's phenomenal that we were able to experience it. So it's always fantastic seeing her in the box supporting Serena in singles. But I'm really excited to see if they can make a run in the doubles game.
Oh, well said. Well, our discussion on the U.S. Open with sports writer Josh Planos continues after this quick timeout, and you're watching Sports Desk here on CNN. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, our guest today, sports writer Josh Planos, who joins us live all the way from Nebraska in the U.S. Josh, before we continue with our discussion, let's find out the answer to our quiz question for the day. Now, the question was, Serena Williams won a mixed doubles title at the U.S. Open in 1998. Who was her partner, Josh? Do you remember?
I do not. I would guess Andy Roddick, but I know that that's probably off.
Well, the answer actually is Max Mirny. I mean, they defeated a team of Lisa Raymond and Patrick Galbraith in the mixed doubles finals, and that was 6-2, 6-2. Well, now let's move back to the present. Let's move on to the men's. And this time, Rafael Nadal already had it tough. I mean, he did mention that he was kind of nervous. You know, in his opening match, he defeated 20-year-old Australian player Rinky Hijikata in 4 sets. Your assessment on Nadal's performance, you know, as his age and injuries are also catching up with him.
Yeah, I think that abdominal tear is going to take some time to heal. His serve looked all out of sorts, and it really felt like he was vulnerable after losing that first step. I'm really glad that he rounded into form and, you know, was able to close it out in the fashion that he did. But each day is going to get him closer to that peak form. And with his abilities in the return game and a relatively open field that, of course, is removed of Novak Djokovic, I think he still has a chance to compete for the title. I just think that he's going to need as much recovery time as possible because the way he played in that first round matchup is not going to get it done. I just believe in him because, you know, he's been phenomenal all year. So if he can get a little bit more recovery time and a little bit more, you know, on-court reps, I think that he's going to be a threat to contend in this tournament.
Well, he doesn't have an easy draw. I mean, he will still have to face, you know, possibly Alcaraz down the line. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that would be a phenomenal, you know, inter-country matchup. I think that, you know, his legs seem to be good, and that's, of course, his number one skill, right, is his ability to cover the court in ways that we've never seen in the men's tennis game. So I think that as long as he's got that on his side, he's going to at least be able to compete. I just think that his service game is so critical to his success, and right now it just looked kind of muted in that opening round matchup. So if he can get, and of course that is something that, you know, you're really relying on your core for. So he really needs to, you know, have that abdominal tear heal up as quickly as possible so he can get back to contending.
Okay, so Nadal, well, there's also defending U.S. champion Daniil Medvedev. He's scheduled to compete today. I mean, do you think he has a good chance of successfully defending his title? Who do you think can give him a run for his money? Kyrgios is still around. Do you think that will be a good matchup?
I'm glad you brought up Kyrgios. He would be my pick. I know that the bet is always that if he can keep his emotions in check, then he's going to be competitive. And I know that that's a tall order, but he has the skill set to topple anybody in tennis, you know, men or women, singles or doubles. Nick Kyrgios is a force when he is playing at the highest level. So I would like him to you know, keep his emotions in check so we can see how far it'll take him. But certainly Medvedev is of course the favorite, and for, you know, good reason. Nobody plays the court the way he does. Nobody sees angles that he sees. So you know, Medvedev would certainly be my favorite to win the tournament, but Kyrgios could ultimately get it done.
Yeah, well, Kyrgios has always been on the sideline, and it's definitely his time to shine. Thank you so much, Josh. I'm sure I will be speaking with you again soon. We just had sports writer Josh Planos joining us live all the way from Nebraska in the U.S.